Sickle cell disease patients, they are born with a genetic change in the hemoglobin gene, as we have heard from Dr. Siana. Now, of course, we have to understand that these red blood cells themselves are not always sickle cell shaped from birth, or we also sometimes call them banana shaped. But they have to come under certain conditions, like maybe low oxygen levels, sometimes dehydration, infection, stress, which causes the abnormal hemoglobin to stick together. And then what happens is that they form these long fibers inside the cell. And so then this causes the normal, what would otherwise be normal, flexible, round red blood cell to then become rigid and become sickle shaped or become banana shaped. This has got to do with the fact that we know that malaria has historically killed millions of children in Africa. And this genetic trait, the carrier status of sickle cell disease, has actually provided some sort of a survival advantage. And that has been passed from one generation to the next. See, the challenge arises when the child will inherit two sickle cell genes, because one from each parent. In that situation, then the protective advantage is then lost, and the individual develops the sickle cell disease.
The baby who is born with sickle cell disease is born like, a normal, healthy baby for the very first days. And then later on, about, 1.5 years, 2 years, 3 years, that's when they actually start to manifest the disease. So if we are able to identify them early on, enroll them into comprehensive care, we reduce by 50% or more the severity of not the severity, but the complications and the damages that one would experience, and even lead to death if they are not properly managed.
We are living in a very exciting time where there have been some significant advancements in the sickle cell management. And I think you rightfully mentioned that, scientists have come up with things like CRISPR, which is a gene editing tool. But of course, one of the biggest issues right now is that these treatments are currently very expensive. So we're looking at, almost $2 million per patient. We should also not forget our basics, which is prevention. We should not forget our basics, which is, the hydroxyurea and the newborn screenings and the education. So while we are working towards, tomorrow's cures, we also must continue to improve today's care. Many times we only focus only on the disease and not on the person. But children with sickle cell disease can go to school, adults can have a career, they can have a family, and of course, even these patients have a lot to contribute to the society.
If you talk to Arafa, she will tell you how she manages herself in terms of water intake, in terms of balanced diet. If you can get foods that, of course, will also help you to boost the hemoglobin, like some of the vegetables that we know them, even from our families in our communities. And proper hydration, because we already know the effects of dehydration for the red blood cells and all that.